What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? And welcome back to another episode of the MES que un podcast. Of course, we have the OG crew, the only crew, because if any of us leaves, we're canceling the podcast. So it's like
done deal. We would have to rebrand completely.
No, we have to rebrand, find a new crew member, get a new site, new YouTube, everything. Pablo, yes. We got John, and we are ready to begin talking about what are we going to talk about. Should we talk first of all about Napoli, or should I let you say, hello, my name is Pablo, and welcome?
We can jump right into things, but we should probably start off, first of all, my voice is a little bit hoarse. I might lose my voice at some point. I am literally fresh off of the FC Cincinnati home opener. I know people have been waiting since the engine room to get FC Cincinnati updates, so we'll get to that towards the end. But so a little hoarse in my voice, but let's give the people a rundown, right? What's happened since the last podcast? A draw, 1-1 away from home against Napoli. So we'll get some reactions to that. And then the big 4-0 win, Xavi ball against Getafe. I like that. I'm excited by that, but I'm also, I might play devil's advocate. I got to see how you guys are feeling first, and then we'll jump into things. Pablo, how you feeling, good sir?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. I think it was actually a decently strong week for Barca, to be fair. I will be honest, I think Napoli was okay. I thought we were good at times, poor at others. I think we collapsed a little bit, which is a bit frustrating in Europe. I'm sure we'll dissect it properly in a minute. But Getafe was really strong. But just in general, I think that's a lot more like what we need to be seeing from Barca. I think I've been saying it all season long. Those players are not bad at all. We've got a very strong squad. And we just need to be scoring and playing at that more often. I mean, we've got goals in us. João Felix, Raphinha, Lewandowski when he's firing. We've got players from midfield who can come in and score. It's like, God, I mean, we haven't won by a big margin in ages, have we, by the way? And just Getafe just felt like a bit of like the weight off our shoulders in a way. To me, anyway, it just felt like a bit of a release of everything. It was like, finally some like goals to reward a bit of like good football. It was just nice to be like 2-0 and then 3-0 up and at the 50th and 60th minute, wasn't it? It was like, it's calm.
Our last real quick, Buga, before we jump over to you, our last multiple goal, not even 3 or 4, just multiple goal, more than one goal scored with a clean sheet was the Supercopa semifinal back in January 11th.
Yeah, I thought it was, yeah.
Yeah. That's how long we've been waiting for a proper performance from Barcelona.
Exactly.
I mean, feeling about things.
Sorry, even that was 2-0 as well, and in the 94th minute, I think Lamin's goal came. It wasn't. We didn't blow them away.
Yeah.
I'm continuing to scroll until I find a 3-0 or a 4-0. 5-0 against Antwerp back on match day 1 in September of the Champions League. I got a 5-0 victory for Barca.
You being serious? Yeah.
That's September. I think I'm scrolling through.
For what is this? Is this
3-0 or more?
Is this for a what? Yeah, clean sheet, right?
Clean sheet with at least 3 goals scored, and you got to go all the way back to Antwerp.
Yeah. Hasn't happened this season at all.
That's wild.
It has not.
Buga, we keep cutting you off. How you feeling?
The Napoli one, honestly, the Napoli game was tense. I was really tense. I was really nervous. I don't know why. Like 1 hour before the match game, I was really anxious. I was like, we're going to win the Champions League. We're going to go get the 6th. We're going to go and lift Europe once again. We're going to take over Wembley. I don't know. All my dreams came and just made me really nervous. And honestly, I think the Napoli game, I don't know. What do you think, guys? I think Barcelona played really well, and they look confident. They look like they knew exactly what they needed to do. It looked like a different team. It looked very different from the last team that we saw in La Liga. And I felt like, okay, this lot are competing. However, the same thing happened again where by the end of the game, we weren't able to close it down. I think the main problem was Xavi not making the substitutions a little bit more early. I think that pained me a bit. I think that we should have seen the introduction of a Fermin, somebody else to, get the momentum back on track, because we were just we were too comfortable with the 1-0 goal, and we needed that second goal to at least get back into it. The 1-1 draw is not the end of the world. I think still Barcelona can win in the Camp Nou, or in the Camp Nou in Montjuic, but we'll see how it goes. And then the Getafe game, I put a tweet out saying like, this is the in a very long time, the first time that we've seen more than 2 goals scored, a clean sheet being kept, playing entertaining football, Lewandowski like firing and connecting with all the other teammates. It looked fresh. It looked nice. I'd really enjoyed it this week.
I think we saw this week what we've been seeing from Barcelona all along. The Napoli match was a shoulda, woulda, coulda. We got by. We got the result, right? I think Buga, Pablo, you guys, and Leah all predicted a 1-1 result for Barcelona versus Napoli. So, first of all, hats off to you all. That was incredible.
No, I predicted 2-1, I think.
Boogie, you should have just taken the win. Just take credit. Nobody's going to go back and watch that episode. Just take credit, my man. But for me, right, then you flash forward to Getafe. When you watch Getafe, as much as I was loving what I'm seeing, there was a little voice in my head going, but why can't we do this all the time? Why can't this just be the Barcelona that
Getafe was shit as well
every time? Say that
Getafe
again?
was really bad.
Thank you, because that's what I wanted to point out. Because I don't want to be the bearer of bad news or come in, negative Nancy over here. But we do have to take that Getafe win with a grain of salt. They're 10th in La Liga right now. They were playing an absurd high line.
Why?
I don't know what the
Bordelas,
dude.
Winston Bordelas like Mr. Park the Bus. What the hell happened?
He is, yeah.
I
so
don't
weird.
know. I mean, listen, thank you, right? Thank you for that gift.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna be what we're up against week in and week out. That's just not gonna be the case. So I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to say, "Oh, look, this is it, right?" Because we've done this. We've done this all season long, where it's 1 week we get something like what we saw against Getafe, and the next week we get a Napoli match. So I loved it. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't really change my expectations so far. I think we still are going to be grinding out some results the rest of the season.
I think the main also point that we need to take out from this is that I like the competition. I like, again, the feeling that nobody's place is safe in the starting 11. Like you have Lamine, you have Raphinha, all of them can create something. Somebody put like a meme out there saying like, remember the quote that said like, you don't watch the game. If you watch the ball, you watch the game, you see Busquets and you see the entire game.
This, I think.
Yeah,
and if you watch the game, you don't see Busquets, but if you watch Busquets, you see the whole game.
Yeah, and it's something like
it's
something like if you watch the game, you don't see Raphinha, but if you watch the scoreline, you see Raphinha. It was something like that.
Dude,
genius meme, by the way. Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
And by the way, the one who said it was Lionel Messi.
Genius. I love it.
But that's true.
A quote from Messi.
That competition.
Pablo, how are you feeling about Raphinha? Because I have a question for you too, based off of the Getafe match. But I want to know what you're feeling about Raphinha right now.
Yeah, I've always been a big Raphinha fan, though. To be fair, like I've always actually backed him, and the reason is because you're right about the goal and assists. That's just great because that's what I want from my Barcelona wingers anyway, and he produces that on a consistent basis. But more than that, it's the danger he creates. So that's why I almost disagree with that. I've seen that meme going on social media. It is funny, but that's an accolade to him. That's praise to him. To say that he gets goals and assists. But I actually think he's also our most involved player in the game whenever he plays. I think we were saying that was almost like a problem as well. And I think it still is because I always believe that either him or Lamine, whoever's on right wing, we just give the ball to them and hope too many times. But again, against Getafe, I mean, how many times was he in on goal? Should have made it 2, granted, absolutely should have. He messed up a few chances, tried to scratch João Felix at the end of the half, had to be a goal for Barca for sure. But he's just such a dangerous player. He would definitely a big part of this Barcelona team for me. I know he gets a lot of stick, and I'm not really sure why, because he creates so much, scores a lot of goals, assists plenty, dangerous player. Not a problem for me at all. Hasn't been this season in any regard. And he came straight back in against Getafe, first start in ages. Did his job, didn't he? Brilliantly.
Yeah. Okay. So you said the point that I wanted to circle on. He gets a lot of stick. He gets a lot of criticism. My theory is because he is consistently causing headaches and he's not going to finish and he's not going to make the right decision every time. We saw, I think, the highs and lows of Raphinha all in the first half even of the Barcelona match against Getafe. First opportunity, 2-on-1 against the keeper, makes the right decision. A little bit selfish, but the right decision to take the chance, bury it, finish it, 1-0. Second time, almost a mirror image. He has João on his left, and he says, okay, this time I'm going to do the team player decision. I'm going to leave it off for João. Doesn't make the right pass, or doesn't give the right weight on the pass. Right decision, but doesn't make the connection on the pass. And so let's just imagine that he didn't finish the first shot. Let's say the keeper makes an excellent save there. All of a sudden, he's had 2 opportunities, 2-on-1 with the keeper. The first shot is saved. The second shot, he doesn't make the pass. So it's that subtle of a margin. It's that thin of a difference whether Raphinha gets praise or criticism. So it's the number of opportunities I think is actually working against him, because he's not going to finish all of them. So it's a is the glass half empty or half full situation, I think, when you look back on the Raphinha performance.
I wanted to give a bit of context, because like today did any of you two watch the game between Real Madrid and Sevilla that just happened?
Tiny bits.
I was watching the scoreline while I was at the FC Cincinnati.
And I was watching the game, and I saw the entirety of the game, and there were plenty of chances that like Rodrigo missed, like Vinicius Junior missed, that Brahim missed, like the same misses that sort of Barcelona do, the very same thing. And I was thinking like, why do we are not going to talk. I mean, I'm not a Madrid fan, so I'm not going to be as passionate about them missing. I want them to miss, right? It's different. But it's not like an exaggerated thing to say that I just think we throw stick to Raphinha because of the sake of throwing stick to someone. Like, I remember things like that. You always go back to Dembele and that chance, the 2 chances he missed against Liverpool in the Champions League. That is going to live with him for the rest of his life. That's people tend to exacerbate more the mistakes rather than the rewards, the fruitions, everything. But I think that we are making way too much out of it. Raphinha has what, 10? Has how many? Pablo, you put a tweet something about it, like 10 goal contributions this season. I think
I did. I'm sure he has though. Yeah. Well, he was
Pablo creating so much Barcelona content, he just can't even keep it straight anymore.
No, I'm actually really bad with stats. I should probably get on with it. What I do know is that he was the only Barcelona player in 2023 to have 10 plus goals and 10 plus assists.
4 goals, 6 assists so far for Raphinha.
Yeah, so 10 goal contributions this season. That's not bad. And what I mean, the problem I also think is that when we bought him, the sort of what was the expectation? We paid like 70 million for him. I think that people are gonna go like, "Wow, we're getting this player, whatnot." But I think the importance of a player like him for me in this team is you need it. When you don't have a Gavi, you need someone like a Raphinha, because you need someone who's just gonna run their socks off. He's gonna work hard for the team. I don't know. For me, he's way more of a Pedro than like a Neymar.
Amen to that. And that's where, again, I push back on anyone who criticizes Raphinha. And I think that's an excellent point, that some of the price tag that Raphinha came with, I think, influences the perceptions and the expectations. But for me, listen, if somebody came in with a $85-90 million offer for Raphinha, I'd have a hard time saying no. But anything under that, anything where we break even or less, no. You could do a lot worse than Raphinha backing up a Lamine Yamal on the right wing. If I'm Barcelona, I'm going to hang on to him.
Yeah, absolutely. He's definitely a culprit of like making his own chances, definitely, because like you're right, he's always the one in the action. And that means that he's going to miss some, That means that he's not going to score all of them, and then that means that people have got all the eyes on him. But I'd rather he's actually in those positions and making things happen than, well, for what's been this season, most of the team doing absolutely nothing in the final third. It's like, at least someone's doing something, and then obviously he'll get all the stick, for missing a few chances. But he's no like Lewandowski. He's not necessarily like a finisher. So, yeah, I just think he's a top player. I find it really strange the way he's actually been like scapegoat by the fan base. Actually, it's like quite like it's almost like common knowledge on Barca Twitter that he's a bit of like that he's like crap. I just find that so odd. Genuinely, like for someone, you look back in the last season or two, and he's got some of those goal contributions.
Yeah, sorry, Pablo. I didn't mean to cut you off there. I think memes have way too much influence on the conversation and the perception. I think there's way too many people who get their opinions off of memes and Twitter accounts rather than watching 90 minutes of football.
Yeah, well, that's just reality. Like, I don't think the majority of the people who watch football, like, I don't know, can you really be like 25 years old and have a Twitter profile with like I don't know, with a profile picture of, I don't know, like Frankie, and call yourself Frankie season 94? Like really? Like, there's no way you're actually that old and have that as a Twitter profile. Like, I mean, no, I think these have to be kids, or there have to be younger audiences that tend to create this tension. They like this drama where there isn't any, and I think that's a bit of a problem. But yeah, moving on from Raphinha, I think that we also have to talk about two players that I think sort of have improved their performances of late, and especially this week. First of all, we have to talk about Lewandowski, and the other one I wanted to mention also, Jules Koundé.
I'm glad you brought him up, actually. I also had Jules Koundé on my list to bring up because he's playing that right back position a bit differently than he was last year. He's not doing the overlap run that is kind of, it's a dummy run, right? That's not really what Barcelona are looking for. But staying back a little bit and getting those balls in over the top, like we saw with the first goal from Raphinha, I'm liking his passing. I'm liking his positioning. I'm liking his composure on that right side right now. I think these last couple of matches, I'll say, Jules Koundé starting to show what we saw last year that got us the La Liga titles. I'm pretty happy with Jules Koundé right now.
I rate Koundé, to be honest with you. I don't have a problem with him. He'd be staying for me. I know he's another one who gets a lot of stick, but I think he's top class. Another guy I've got to point out, by the way, at the back is Barça. I mean, how good does he look? I know he's getting a load of praise from Xavi and whatnot, but I mean, he looks incredible. I think he was central centre back on the weekend. Araujo on the left, which I thought was a bit uncomfortable to hit for him, by the way, on a separate note. But got Barça in the middle there. I mean, his passing range is an absolute joke. What a player out of La Masia he is again, incredible. So he's brilliant. But yeah, Koundé, I think, is a top player. We just need to regain these people's level. I've said that all season long. We've got a very good squad. In my opinion, we've got really good players. We've underperformed this season, in fact. I'll just go out and say that because we shouldn't have got some of the poor results we have because we've got top players. We should be dispatching teams that we did against Getafe way more. We should have dispatched Napoli in the week. We should have, because they weren't good enough either as well, by the way. I'll point that out. So, we've got to be doing better. And I think players like Koundé, they're obviously got a new manager next season, but I'm waiting for them to get to that top level again. And then we can start, hopefully getting a good grip on the title race.
Mm-hmm. What I like about Koundé is that he does bring way more of the balance to that defense, because when we were playing, let's say, Alejandro Valde and João Cancelo, both of them would tend to be more attacking and be more forward-minded. So with Koundé, you have this sort of isometrical team where, let's say we're playing Íñigo or Christensen, Araujo, and Koundé, they can sort of shift to a back three, and you have then two wide flanks with João Cancelo on the left, and then you have, I don't know, in this game, Raphinha for the right. And I think that is way more similar to what we were used to last season. So I don't know, man. I really like Koundé in that position. I think it works quite a lot, particularly attacking-wise, because it leaves us in a much better position than just having two center-backs and a holding midfielder. I just think it's much better. And the other guy that will, of course, surprise me is Lewandowski. I think that Lewandowski, I don't know what has changed. I think he's just starting to fire it up again. Like I was saying before, I don't really think Lewandowski was the main issue that surrounded this team. But when he puts the ball into the back of the net and it's working, like, fair play. In Napoli, he had one chance and he put it into the back of the net, and that's all that he needed to do. So, yeah, I'm liking this resurgence. Maybe, hopefully, he can continue. He scored 4 games, I think, on back-to-back, and then he stopped here against... he stopped in this game against Getafe. But, yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy how things are looking.
I am glad Lewandowski is finding his form. And in particular, these last few matches, he does seem to be very focused, right? Give him a couple of opportunities, and one of those he's going to bury. I do want to bring up something that is Lewandowski related. Does it bother you all when players make a run and don't receive the pass or don't receive a quality pass and they complain about it, like openly, like, oh, what the... Like, even with the 4-0 victory with Getafe, Lewandowski and João Felix in particular,
I saw that.
really
I saw that.
frustrate me.
Yeah,
Every run that they made, if they didn't get a pass to their feet, they're like, oh, with the dramatics. Go back and listen to Thierry Henry talk about the runs that he would have to make where he knows damn well 90% of the time when he makes that run wide out on the left wing, he's not getting the pass. But it opened up the space for Andres Iniesta. João, Lewandowski, a couple other players need to go back and watch that clip, take a lesson from Thierry, do your part, do your role. The theatrics, oh my gosh, I shouldn't have got the ball. Why? Stop it. I don't like it as part of the club. It really does bother me.
Yeah, I saw that from João like plenty of times, and I mean, if I was in that position, I'd be frustrated as well. But the problem is that that's very selfish thinking. Like you're right. I do think that that's very selfish thinking in the sense like if I'm João Felix, of course I want to get a chance. Of course I want to shoot on goal. You had 2 chances. I mean, you actually did score a goal, and you could have scored another one. Those runs are way more about playing, the team game. So I understand you. I feel you. If
I'm Xavi, let me just say, if I'm Xavi, I'm going, João, put your arms down. Put your arms down, João. Make the run. If you get the ball, great. If you don't, circle back. Do it again. And keep making the run. I would be up his butt. I really would be. That really bothers me. I don't know why, but it really does.
What about João? Do you think he had a good game?
I do. I think he did really well. I'm very interested how he does coming back from injury with this new Lamine Yamal that we have on the right wing. I'm curious to see what kind of João we get on the left as a balance. Pablo, what are you thinking? Are you feeling optimistic at all?
Yeah. I mean, I think the more attacking options we've got there, the better. I think we saw that against Getafe. To be fair, this season with that Raphinha, João Felix, Lewandowski front three, we haven't had a bad record. They played some big games as well, by the way, and I think they've done well on most of them. I think maybe Girona at home we didn't do well with it, but other than that, I think we've been pretty good with that front three. So I think it's actually good, yeah. I mean, I know we've sort of done the 4 midfielders, but you look at Saturday, for example, where it then allowed us to rest Pedri. The more options, the better. We're going to get Ferran back as well. I mean, I'm looking for that second leg as well against Napoli. We need firepower. We probably didn't have enough in the first leg. I know Xavi was late to make subs, but, with João and Raphinha coming back a bit late from injury, it just felt like we didn't really have much to offer there. So I think if João's in there, then it's brilliant. And to be fair, we know he's got goals in him. He's been a little bit inconsistent, but he can get the ball in the back of the net. So goals from left wing, we need that 100%.
Yep. I mean, if we're talking, I think tactically speaking, I really remember what I was mentioning about the isometrical team. Okay, you have the back three that shifts, and you have João Cancelo on the left, and then you have someone who stretches through the right. We have plenty of times where the Raphinha crosses the ball, Lamine crosses the ball, and there's only one guy in the box who's going to be Lewandowski. By having João Felix there, having a Ferran Torres who play that sort of false striker or whatever, false winger, they're going to be way closer to the box. They're going to be able to, get a rebound from those chances. They're going to be closer to the play. So I like that. I think that certainly can give us more goals. And then when we also talk about João Cancelo, who is a fullback that plays very high up, he can stretch the play as well through the left, but also drop a little bit into the midfield. João, Ferran, they can connect with that. They can play passes with them. Pedri sort of in that area as well. I think it works, and I think I really like that balance. For me, the best front threes are always a winger who stretches the play, a striker, and then you have like this sort of number 10 who's playing as a winger, who can sort of occupy the spaces and kind of sort of free roam. You always have that. You see the teams before, you had like Agüero, Bernardo Silva, and then you had someone like Asane or Sterling. You look at Neymar, Suarez, Messi. They always have these sort of profiles and match and interconnect, and that's what I think Barcelona should try to have in this game. I think it's simple. It's Ferran or João Felix, Lewandowski or Vitor Roque, and Lamine Yamal or Raphinha. I think that is set on stone. That has to be.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. when I look at our left wing options, I don't know if Zhao has done enough for what his price tag is going to be.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. Because listen, we can have Ansu come back for free.
Mm-hmm.
We can have, let's go through the options, right? Nico Williams, 50 million buyout clause. It jumps up significantly from there because you got Kvaratskhelia, who we just played in Napoli, who I thought actually looked good, and new Napoli manager who maybe isn't fitting Kvara into those plans. I don't know if you guys were paying attention to any of that, but Kvara taken off early in that Napoli match. So Kvara, but he's like 90 mil?
Yeah.
Right? I think that's going to be a stretch. And then you got Rafael Leao, who's 150 mil. That's, of course, everybody's looking at him for the answer to Mbappe. But so João Felix, I think, is rumored to be around 40 million euros.
Yeah.
But for Atletico, they're not going to want to negotiate with Barca. They're going to hold firm on that. So if you're looking at, let's say it is on the cheap side, 40 million for João Felix or a 50 million for a Nico Williams.
Yeah, I mean the funny thing is I don't think we can afford either.
Pablo, don't be realistic on the podcast.
Yeah, sorry.
We're trying to dream big dreams here, Pablo.
I'm sorry. I meant that I just don't think we'll go for them because I think we'll go for Rafael Leao instead.
There we go. Yeah, he's back, everybody. Now, give us the truth, Pablo. What do you see as Barcelona's future left wing? Are we going to go with Ansu just because he's the free one coming back?
Depends so much on the manager, but I also do think that Laporta, Deco, and Mendes will try and get João Felix on another loan potentially. By the way, watch out for more loans this summer because he's got a contract until 2028 or 2029. It's not like Atleti need to sell him because they've got a year or two left. He's got a loan or two left in him before they'll start saying, right, now we got to sell. So I think we could do another loan, genuinely. With João, I can't see us committing money to him. I don't think we actually physically can. I think because we'll also try and commit money to João Cancelo behind him. I actually don't think we can commit money to Felix, genuinely. So they're either going to have to hope for a loan, or they're going to have to leave him.
Coutinho. Yeah, because am I right? When you look at Barcelona's most recent big purchases, Coutinho, Dembele, Griezmann, flop, loss. We can't do that. And João Felix, is João 23? Am I wrong? 24 years old?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough negotiation. I think.
Look,
these last couple months of the season will be interesting.
If you can get João Felix on another loan, go get him on another loan. I think that if somehow he's the sort of player we get on 2 loans consecutively and then we get him for free, I wouldn't mind that because am I just blinded? I honestly really like this kid. I think he's playing well. I think when you look at his stats. He's 1 goal away from matching. He's already equaled his very first season at Atletico Madrid at Barcelona, and he's only 1 goal contribution away to equaling his last ever season. Only the 2 seasons in the middle, he has scored or contributed more goals. So it's almost the same return as what he had in Atletico Madrid, right? And I think that he of course suits his place a lot more. And once again, we've seen that this season, João Felix can be a match winner. If we are genuinely, if we are I don't know, 0-0 in Montjuic second leg of the round of 16 in the Champions League, João Felix can out of nowhere pop up and score a goal. We don't have players like that can do that. So I would keep him. Of course, you can keep him on our loan. The money wise, we have to see how it goes. But for me, the player that makes the most sense, 100%, it's Ansu Fati. The injuries though. Even at Brighton, he had another injury. And it's a bit annoying, but when you see him play right now, when you see him play in Brighton, he just has that extra thing of touch the ball, then he runs, then he's always he understands perfectly where he needs to be for the second pass after he committed to a pass. He moves around, he free roams. And he has that eye for goal. For me, look, if you on paper, if you think about it, if you have Ansu Fati, if Ansu Fati returns to what he was, Lamine Yamal, and then you have someone like a Victor Roque or whatnot, That's amazing. Like if you look at what actually they could be, that's amazing. But I don't know what we can do with Ansu Fati. I don't know. But he's the answer. He's the sort of player that we actually need. And the closest one is what I would say Leao, but I mean he's like, I don't know how much money.
He's so far away. So
yes.
close, so far.
Yeah, I agree on Ansel, and I really want to bring him back, and I really want him to do well. Has he been incredible at Brighton, though, even, you know? It felt like one of those loans where, like, if you want to get back into the Barcelona first team, you go to Brighton, you're like, yeah, this is like a step below me. Let me just dominate here, and then I'll get back to business at Barca. It's not like he's gone there, and he doesn't even start. I know he's been injured, but, like, if you told De Zerbi you've been put into the Champions League final tomorrow, and Ansel Fati's on the bench for Brighton and Hove Albion, and people, and you know, and I love Ansel, but like that is the fact of it. You know, is he just then going to come back and stroll into Barca's left wing like, I'm back, lads, even though I couldn't get into Brighton's team?
Oh, that does sting a little bit. I mean, if you want to look at a role model for a lone player, look at Serginho Dest. I mean, come on now. Takes over PSV's left back position. He's getting goals. He's getting assists. I know all the Barcelona fans out there right now are like, yeah, I can't wait to get Serginho Dest back. I'm so excited for Serginho Dest to be wearing the Blaugrana again. I know. Comment below. Let me know how excited you are to get Serginho Dest back at the Camp Nou.
But Ansu Fati is still 21.
Like, subscribe, share,
he's 21, dude.
He's young. He's young. And I also think he's one of those players. He's probably also one of those players who, I know there are loads of them like this, who would always do better at Barca than they would at any other team. Like Alenia was like that as well. Like the second he left Barca, I knew he was never going to be like a star again. Like he's done. And there's so many of them as well. There's so many of them from La Masia that it's like once that, it's like I reckon if we sold Fermin now, we wouldn't hear from him again. He'd be like he'd just be like Alenia. They just go with the wind.
I think there's something to that. I think there's something to the mentality of it.
Yeah.
That when you're at a top club, and there's only a few, Barcelona, Real Madrid, Man United, Bayern Munich. I think those are like the four that it does not get any higher than that in terms of prestige.
Yeah.
Right? So if you start there at a young age and then you go on a couple of loans and then you get sold, how are you going to wake up in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror and say that you're a top player?
Yeah.
How are you going to continue to believe that narrative? It just doesn't happen. So that makes perfect sense that you would see players kind of have a huge drop in form.
Ansu has already missed 14 games for Brighton this season.
That hurts.
By injury.
That hurts.
Yeah, I don't really know what to tell you. But for me, once again, when I always see him play, when he plays, he's good. The problem is just he doesn't play enough football. He just doesn't play enough. It's not that he's bad. He just is not available when you need him to be. So that for me is the main issue, the main problem. And I don't know what we're gonna do with the left wing position. I don't know what's gonna look for the future. But I think that we just need to commit to one player. I think that's the thing. That's the sort of going forward. You either commit Joao Felix and you give him all of the game time. He's a starter. Commit to that guy. You commit to a Ferran Torres and you commit to the guy. You commit to Ansu Fati. We haven't committed to a player for a very long time now. I think that we have committed sort of to Raphinha a while last season. This season to Lamine Yamal, Raphinha because he's been injured. But we haven't committed to players. And that for me, once again, is the main problem with Barca. We haven't committed to players and we haven't been like, you get this position, you try, you're the starter, you're the backup. This is your roles. You need to play. We don't have that right now. It's like incognito every single game. Xavi for this next game against Bilbao, he doesn't know who's going to play left wing. That's a guarantee. He doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a fair point.
Here's where I'm at with it. I want to be sensible. All right, we can dream big dreams. Barcelona supporters can get excited about what's going on social media, the Rafael Leaos, the Cavaras, even the Nico Williams, right? We can get excited about all that. Here's what I think is practical and what's going to happen. Let's bring back Ansu Fati. Let's not buy João Felix. Let's have the options on the left of Ferran Torres, Ansu Fati, or 4 in the midfield. Because we're going to have a healthy Gavi next season as well. Yeah. So for me, and again, I think, Pablo, you already said it. A lot of it depends on what manager comes in for Barcelona. But if I'm coming in and I have those options, I'm saying let's not spend big. Let's not roll the dice. Let's be sensible. Let's secure a defensive midfielder. Let's spend our money there. And otherwise, Ansu, Ferran, or 4 in the midfield. Those are 3 good options that we can test and rotate throughout next season. And I think Barcelona has enough that we can be successful with that. We can get some trophies.
I agree.
Without overspending.
Yeah, you look at different teams out there. There's always positions where, there's one position where you go, oh, he's not a superstar or whatnot, right? But it only takes consistency. It takes a manager to propel them to that sort of levels. That's all it takes. Like you look at, I don't know, like a Jordan Henderson at Liverpool, or like I go back to different. There's always like I remember
Pedro. It's Pedro.
Pedro, yeah,
all day. That's the class. It's not all. It's not Messi, Neymar, Suarez that wins it every year. It's not. It's Messi, David Villa, and Pedro that'll win it for you.
Yeah, and I think that's the best of options. Secure what you don't have, because right now we don't have a CDM. Get someone through the door who can do that position. They're looking at Amadou Onana from Everton. I like him, but let's see how it goes. But for me, like we say, it depends on the manager. It depends on the manager, because the manager will have a lot to say. I think that you have like a Hansi Flick. He's going to want someone at a number 10 position who can come, runs into the boxes. That could be a Gavi, that could be a Ferran Torres, that could even be a Joao Felix playing as a number 10, because he wants a left winger who stretches the play. That's what he wants. That's how he plays. So he's going to need Ansu Fati there, and I don't know who else. But it depends on the manager. It really depends on the manager quite a lot.
Yeah, fair enough. I did make a little like team squad. I got hammered for it on Twitter, but I just thought, we're not far away from having a very good squad. The only signing I've made really is Zubimendi. Cancelo you can bring back as well, either on loan or on a permanent, and then you've got the option to loan in Felix again if you want. That's it. I'm asking for nothing more and a sub goalkeeper, but he could be free potentially from La Liga or something. Mm-hmm. That's it. And I'm looking at these players. They're top quality players, top quality team.
Yeah,
I think they
really
can compete perfectly well, honestly. And I did get abuse, but hey, I thought it was a good team.
Leave Pablo alone, everybody. You leave him alone. My goodness, don't be abusing Pablo on
like
Twitter.
even I agree with Pablo. Like even if you just bring, let's say, realistically, you bring loans, you buy Joao Cancelo permanently, you loan in Joao Felix again, you keep Ansu Fati, and you buy, I don't know, Amadou Onana for like 30 million. I think with what we already have, I think that's a decent team. It's not the best team in the world. You can win a La Liga with it. You can compete, I think, in the Champions League, because normally when you take a look at it, managers improve players, and these players are there. It's like all of them are raw diamonds. We just need to like exploit them.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you all a name.
Oh right, you brought a name, right? I remember.
I'm gonna give you a name. This is under the radar, but Americans know. Johnny Cardosa
from Real Betis.
From Real Betis, Johnny Cardoso.
I knew you were gonna say him, honestly.
Bro, Brazilian American. Paulo, I'm gonna ignore your laughter right now. Brazilian American coming to Betis from Internacional. He's played 6 matches so far, scored a stunning goal today. Watch this boy play. Just watch him play, okay? I know I'm gonna get a lot of shtick for this. I know Americans don't know ball. Oh, go play soccer. Go watch the NFL. I get it, you guys. I get it. I've heard the comments. I've read them. I'm stating my opinion anyway. Johnny Cardoso could be the cheap solution for Barcelona's defensive mid. 6.3 million to get him to Betis. We can get him for under 10. Under 10 million. I'm telling you, he'd do some damage. Okay.
The thing is that the thing is with signings like that. Look, I am nothing against that. I would love for Barcelona to have gone and get like Arthur Vermeeren, who's now at Atletico Madrid, like a player like that. Of that level. The problem is that once you come into Barcelona, like, when's the last time we just gone and been like, okay, you're a 21-year-old, bang, you're a starter week in and week out? That's never going to happen. And that's what you need in a team to succeed, I think. you need that consistency. You need that reliance. Like, that's not going to happen. And
Buga, he's not. He's 22 years old. Okay,
it's the same thing, dude. He's like 2004 or whatever. He's a kiddo.
He's basically a seasoned veteran compared to half of Barcelona's club right now.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that Barcelona, like Pablo is saying, the squad is there. The problem is way more with I think it's not the. It's a bit with the manager, but more about the mentality. And I think that if Xavi can no longer, he acknowledges that he can no longer get to those players, then get someone for the door who can. You know, that's a sort of next step that we need to focus on. And it's not about the splashy signings, like not go out there. And if you sign a player, go big, but on players that make sense and are related to what we want to achieve. Like, let's be honest, we brought on João Felix because he was his agent is friends with Laporta. That's it. And he's not even a player who fits into what we wanted. We lost Dembele. We haven't brought a player who's similar to that. So, and you cannot tell me at that stage you knew Lamine Yamal was going to be good enough. Like, at that stage, you just wouldn't say Lamine Yamal, oh, he's going to replace Dembele easily. No. So that's a problem.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's sort of like a final one for me, just in terms of next steps and looking ahead. I mean, the next time we come on, we would have played Athletic Club away. I mean, John, you were talking about the fact that probably Getafe weren't a test, and like that wasn't the Barcelona we'd see all the season, how you want to see it more. Talking about tests, going back to San Mamés, good news for us today is they lost to Betis, right?
No Nico Williams.
They've lost.
No Nico Williams.
No Nico Williams. No Danny Vivian at the back, I've heard too. He's suspended too. Big players missing. You know, this is a big chance for Barca. I know La Liga is I sort of had a little bit of like glimmer of like we're getting close enough to Real Madrid. They've gone and done one of their 80th minute 1-0 winners again today. You know,
just real quick. Bias admitted. Okay, I'm looking through a culés lens here, but the ball in with the cross before it goes to Modric, I see a player offside.
Yeah,
and the defender closest to the player who is offside is the one who clears the cross that lands at Modric's feet. If that defender does not have the player who's offside in his vicinity, how much more time does he have to play that ball? Does it still land at Modric's feet? I'm just saying, if it was Barcelona, that's going to VAR and there's an offside call. I'm just saying that maybe there's a little bit of favoritism for Real Madrid again. I'm just saying that maybe they're being handed the title. That's all. That's all I'm saying.
Bua, did you watch it? They were proper at it as well tonight. By the way, I think their fans were chanting about Negreira. Their players, Toni Kroos was having a fit at every decision. Vinicius was laughing and clapping like he does every game. The same thing Nico Williams got sent off for, by the way, a couple of hours earlier. You know, just the classic, the same crap. And then they get a goal. You're right, John. They whip it into the cross is for Rudiger. That's who's aimed the cross at. Rudiger is in an offside position. That means you have to chalk the ball. You have to chalk the goal off. You have to chalk the goal off. They ruled off our João Felix winner away to Granada because Ferran was in the vicinity of the ball. It was.
Isn't that what happened with Van Dijk today?
Exactly.
With Van Dijk today with Liverpool.
Well, it was Endo was in an offside position and blocked Colwill, who was going to go back to track Van Dijk.
A little bit of a pick. I have to admit that. Yeah, but very similar situation.
Yeah.
So.
And did you see also that the referee got injured in the game?
Yeah, no, I didn't see
the referee got injured, and they brought in the fourth referee, and the fourth referee was his debut game ever in the first division.
Bro.
And his last ever game was his last ever game was on the third division of football, and he was then refereeing Real Madrid versus Sevilla. Yeah, and like in the hottest stadium ever, and everyone was shouting at the poor guy.
Yeah.
Bro.
It's just made for them, really, to be honest.
Shameless of them to be shouting at referees, by the way, but hey ho.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so we do have Atletico Bilbao coming up.
Yeah.
So next podcast we'll be talking about that match, and it'll be a little preview for leg 2 of Napoli because that's coming up the following week.
Yep.
So
Not quite.
Discuss.
No, there's still one more
Was that
week.
proper? One more week still?
Yeah, we'd have pod next Sunday, which would be after Athletic Club. Then we'd have another pod, which would be just after Granada, after Mallorca, sorry, which is on a Friday night, and then we'd be previewing Napoli and then Atleti.
Oh my goodness, so many pods. Why is it? Is it typically? I feel like they spaced out that second leg more than they have in the past. Am I wrong about that?
They're normally it's the second legs are like there's 3 weeks. Yeah.
That's typical.
Yeah,
That feels
for
so
the first
spread
for
out to
round of
me.
16, then quarterfinals, and the other ones are like back-to-back weeks.
Yeah,
Back-to-back weeks. Okay, that's
because Europa League have to. We couldn't even win Europa League. We couldn't even win Europa League, and I'm shit on the Europa League. Europa League has to like catch up to Champions League because they have, for whatever reason, playoffs.
They have more. Yeah, they have. Yeah, because they kind of backtrack. I think don't they start with 32 in the knockout round and go down to 16, something like that.
Yeah.
I could be talking nonsense. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Let me know if I'm wrong down in the comments. Would love to hear from you. And folks, we do need to next episode. Let's bring in some comments because we've been teasing that a little bit. I think two previous episodes we did a good job of responding to some comments. So let us know your thoughts out there, listeners. Give us your opinions. Ask your questions. Give us your love. Give us your hate. We'll take both extremes. We'd love to hear from you. Keep the conversation going. And like we said, we'll be back next week with more content, more Barcelona football to discuss. We'll see you then, folks. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye-bye. Take care.